when I look across all the other vendors out there right now, you're starting to see everybody come along with the enterprise application story. Where do you see the role of companies and enterprises needing, so first of all, do they need an enterprise app store? And if they do, what's the value from your perspective?
The short answer is yes, I think they do. I think there are a number of benefits to an enterprise application store. Really, it comes back to, what is one of the key factors for B2E mobility? And as I said earlier, it's control. So having a position where you can control, as an IT team, the business applications which are distributed and potentially the content which is distributed to employees is significant. In any large organization, that's not going to be necessarily by individual, it's going to be by role, based on enforcement of policy of some kind. Some things you want to be mandatory, you want to enforce that upon the device. You may have regulatory requirements as a company which do that. Some things might be optional. In all cases, in the optional cases, you want a central point where people can come and find the right versions of the applications, where updates can be managed, and also an experience which is not dissatisfactory and, again, authoritarian and annoying to use. So I think people have got used to the user experience of consumer app stores. They expect some of that in the way in which they're dealing with enterprise applications. Equally, the employer is going to require a set of controls which they need to enforce. So it's a kind of marriage of those two things. I think enterprises potentially, we see less demand for enterprises running their own consumer app stores, but there is an emerging requirement for that as well, actually. It's always been the case that mobile operators have typically run them, and also people like Nokia and some device manufacturers. But what we're finding as well is that organizations would like to point you at the official consumer application. Now, that may be because of the way that the various device app stores work. It may be a link back into the Apple store, or it may be back into Google Play, or to them necessarily because that's the way it works, to the Microsoft App Store. But they'd like you to direct you to the officially approved application, not the 15 unofficial applications which might in some way damage or diminish their reputation. So there is also an emerging requirement for consumer app stores as well.